Hey students, I hope you all are doing fine and are busy in preparing for your upcoming examinations. So today I am going to teach you Ajakha Vareshanu by Amrita Preetham. And in English it is Today I Say Unto Varesha. Is a very emotional poem written by Amrita Preetham during the painful time after the partition of India in 1947, when there was a lot of violence, suffering, and displacement, especially in Punjab, and people, particularly women, faced extreme trauma. And in this poem, the poet speaks directly to Waris Shah, a famous Punjabi poet who wrote the tragic love story of Heer and Ranjha. And here Amrita Preetham asks him to rise from his grave and see the pain of Punjab. Because earlier he wrote about the sorrow of one girl Heer, but now thousands of daughters are crying due to the horrors of partition. The poem shows how deeply the poet feels this collective grief, and she uses strong images like blood flowing in rivers and dead bodies lying in fields to express the seriousness of the situation. The poem was translated into English by Khushwant Singh, and it has 5 stanzas and 57 lines. And one important feature of this poem is it follows the dirge like poetic form, which means it has the tone and rhythm of a morning song, usually written to express sorrow for death or tragedy. In simple words, a dirge is a sad and slow poem that sounds like a lament. And this makes the poem even more powerful because it feels like the poet is crying not just for one person but for an entire land. Overall, the poem is not just about past love stories, but about present suffering, and it gives voice to the pain of a whole community, making it a strong expression of loss, memory, and emotional history. And here, even though she took excerpt from the poetry, not directly, but she took situation from a poetry where we see that the poem was about love, but here she is not taking love as a theme. She is juxtaposing Heer's plight with that of other girls of Punjab, daughters of Punjab, who are facing the horrifying situation of displacement. Amrita Preetham was a famous Punjabi poet and writer born in 1919. She started writing very early in her life. Her first book of poems, Amrit Lehra, was published when she was only 17 years old. At first, she wrote mainly about love and feelings, but as she grew older, her writing became stronger and more serious. She began to write about society, people's problems, and change, especially after joining the progressive writers movement. Moreover, one of her most important poems is Sunehre, for which she won the Sahitya Academy Award. However, this poem also created some debate, like some people from her community asked why she did not dedicate it to Guru Nanak Ji. On the other hand, some left wing writers thought she should have dedicated it to leaders like Lenin and Stalin. This shows that her work was connected to different ideas and opinions. And she dedicated this work to, she's trying to invoke Waris Shah through her poetry, and who's a Punjabi poet who lived from 1706 to 1798. He's best known for writing Heer and Ranjha, a famous love story about Heer and Ranjha. The title of the work is Heer Ranjha. This work is considered one of the most important pieces of Punjabi literature. Waris Shah wrote deeply about love and human emotions, and his work is still remembered and respected today. Let me give you the little idea of what left wing ideology stands for. It is a simple idea that focuses on equality and fairness. It has this notion that everyone in society should have equal chances to live a good life. And it also says that the gap between rich and poor should be reduced. And according to this ideology, this thinking, the government should help people by providing things like education, healthcare, and jobs, especially for those who are poor or struggling. And in simple words, left wing Ideas tried to make society more equal and fair for everyone. And Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin, like how they were connected to this idea of left wing. Lenin was a leader who helped bring a big change in Russia and wanted workers and common people to have more power instead of kings or very rich people. And Stalin came after him and also followed same ideas, but he ruled in a very strict and controlling way. Because of this, people criticize him. And you don't need to delve deeply into the idea of left ideology because it's not very important from your exams point of view. You just have to have a little idea about this ideology or a little bit detail about Lenin and Stalin. All right. In this poem, Amrita talks to Waris Shah, and she calls out to him as if he were still alive. She asks him to wake up and see what has happened to Punjab after the partition of India. She wants him to witness the pain and sadness of people. Pritam says that in his story, Waris Shah wrote about the pain of one girl, but now, after partition, not just one girl, but thousands and even millions of daughters of Punjab are crying in pain, and their suffering is much greater. And Pritam feels that Waris Shah should come and write about the tragedy as this tragedy as well. And she's asking him to open a new page in his book of love and record this new story of sorrow. And Amrita then describes the terrible condition of Punjab. She says that the fields are full of dead bodies, showing how much violence has taken place. The river Chenab, which was once used to carry clean water, now seems to be filled with blood. And this is not meant literally, of course, but it depicts how much bloodshed has happened. And she also says that someone has poisoned the five rivers of Punjab. This means that hatred, violence, and cruelty have spread everywhere. The land that was once fertile and full of life is now full of destruction. And instead of growing crops, it feels like it is growing poison. The sky itself seems to have turned red because of the cries, tears, and suffering of the people. Now, talking about the form of the poetry, it has five stanzas, and fifth one is the longest. And the poem does not follow a fixed rhyme scheme, which means it does not have a regular pattern of rhyming words. Hope you understand rhyming words. It is written in free verse, so the lines are of different lengths and flow naturally like speech. And the poem also has a slow and sad rhythm, which is called a dirge like rhythm. I have already explained this. First of all, pause this video for a minute and write down all the words I have highlighted: metaphor, metonymy, hyperbole, and apostrophe. These are important. Here, metaphor is when we say one thing is another thing, even though it's not. We do this to show a similarity. For example, time is a thief. Here, time is not really a thief, but it takes things away. Her smile is sunshine. Is it actually a sunshine? No, it's not. Sunshine is the metaphor here. The classroom was a zoo. He has a heart of stone. And tell me in comment section, in last two sentences, which one is the metaphor? Metonymy. Metonymy is when we use the name of one thing to mean something related to it. In metaphor, we used all in metaphor we use a completely different word to express something, like her smile is sunshine. Sunshine is in no way related to her smile. But in metonymy, we use somewhat similar thing, like the White House made a decision means a government or president. White House is related to president because the White House is a place where a president lives. And the crown will announce new rules. Crown is also somewhat related to, like directly related to king or queen, and here king or queen are going to make decision, but here crown is used as a metonymy. The pen is mightier than the sword. Pen refers to writing and sword to war. Like in this example of metaphor is Book of Love. It is used to refer to Heer and Ranjha written by Waris Shah. And silent grief. He gave tongue to her silent grief. The use of metonymy. Like gave tongue to. Like articulated her silent grief. And articulating something, we articulate something with the help of our tongue. So tongue is somewhat related to our speech. So it can come under the definition of metonymy. And hyperbole. Hyperbole is when we exaggerate, say something in a very dramatic way to show strong feelings. For example, I have told you a million times, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. This bag weighs a ton. She cried a river. Did she actually cry a river? No, she didn't. Because it is just exaggerating her intense feelings of crying. An apostrophe is when we speak directly to someone or something that is not present or not alive. Like talking, it simply means that talking to something that cannot answer you. For examples, oh moon, why are you so bright? Death, be not proud. Oh God, help me. Time, please slow down. And here it is used to ask question. Arise, O friend of the distressed. It is used to invoke the spirit of Waris Shah. Is Waris Shah going to reply to this question she is asking in her poetry? No, she is not. It is used in a way where she is creating a situation where she can, you know, dramatize, show the intensity of the situation. So she uses apostrophe as a literary device here. Pause this video for a while and read it carefully. And write down rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a question that is not asked to get an answer. It is asked to make a point or express a feeling. For example, is the sky blue? And another examples are who doesn't want to be happy? Can anyone live without food? And do let me know if you want me to teach you these literary devices in detail. I'll make another video on that. And in my next video, I'm going to explain this poem line by line. I'll post it by next week. And please work hard for your upcoming exams. Good luck.